All right, welcome everybody. So tonight's little mini webinar, we are going to be talking about reading strategies for student success. And co-hosting tonight is the other co-founder, Karen Hogan. Welcome everybody. So tonight's little mini webinar. I always forget to pause the live YouTube one also. So if you're following along, you can add in some comments into the YouTube live chat. If you're catching this later on, you can always just simply send us an email. But check out the library. Also, we'll have some things shared in there, and then lots of stuff in our help center. But tonight, Karen, you're going to start us off with sharing some of your favorite reading strategies with InsertLearning.
Yeah, so I just want to start off by saying that don't be intimidated by us when we say reading strategies kind of thing. I'm an English teacher. I've taken reading classes before, but that doesn't mean that you can't do it no matter what type of teacher you are. Matt's a science teacher, and I taught him a couple things, and now he knows how to do it. So it's really not that hard, right? Okay, so
right.
I'm gonna
just gotta try.
Yeah, so I'm gonna share my screen here. And so this is an article that I found, right? I'm a skier. It's the Olympics right now. Men's combined was yesterday. And so, I really love to have relevant things for my students. So this is about skiing. So first thing I want to talk about is student highlighting. So what I usually do is I insert a sticky note up at the beginning of the text, and I come up with my own highlighting directions, but because we are awesome, we have pre-made some things you can totally go in there. So if you are back, if you're on quick lesson ideas here, you guys saw how I got there. You click on Annotation Instructions, and then right here, look at this. There are directions that you can copy, click out of there, and paste right there in the directions. So students then can see this at the top, and then just like how you have the highlighting text here, students have the highlighting text as well. So that's what I do for highlighting, and obviously you can do whatever you want. We have this as doing main idea, supporting details, and vocabulary words, but if you want to change that, you can. My reading teacher kind of trick or hint is that whatever colors you end up choosing, you should keep those consistent throughout the class, otherwise students are going to get confused. So yeah, anything you want else me to say about that, Matt?
Maybe show off how to do the multiple color highlights.
Oh yeah, so this is what a student would be doing, right? If you're telling the students to highlight, but you can highlight too, right? So I'm guessing students are probably gonna highlight intuitive when they're reading this. So you click over here on the highlight text tool, and then you find a word and you click on it. And then it automatically goes to yellow first, but once you click on it, then you have all these options that pop up, and then this paintbrush is where they can change color. So it says blue for vocab word, so then a student would make that blue. You can also, depending on how you change your directions, you can also say that students have to highlight and comment. So you could, right, it does say this, well, it says it in the directions. Maybe I should read the directions. I'm turning into my 8th graders. Comment on these highlights with the definition of the word in your own words. So then they could click on this plus here, and then they'd give a definition. Is easily understood, known already. And they click OK. And then you would see as the teacher, a little head would pop up here, and then you can go through and see what students have highlighted. And then you could see that they've highlighted that blue and left a definition. A cute little thing you can do too, depending on how old your kids are. Let me highlight another thing here. Execute, maybe they don't know execute. We're going to change that. When you click on this plus, they can leave their thing, their comment, but then you can also see right here, there's that, and that's going to load emojis. And so you could, depending on the age of your students, and really emojis, anyone thinks emojis are fun. you can have your kids, you could change the directions to leave emojis as part of their, oops, I clicked cancel instead of okay. But you saw what I can do. So then you can leave emojis as part of the definition as well. And so now that is part of the comment too. And so teachers can do that, and then students can do that. The powerful thing with having student annotations is that then they are interacting with the text, and the fancy term is marking the text, kind of close reading kind of thing, so that they're really paying attention to what they read.
I want to add in for that of I always think back of the first lesson of I finally did with InsertLearning that had students annotating things with close reading was that they were just highlighting. It was an animal evolution thing. It was adaptations. So they were highlighting scientific pieces about the animal as they're reading through, and it was just so nice because then they were highlighting important information about the animals instead of answering questions. And I was talking with a special ed teacher over the summer, and he talked about how one thing he really liked about InsertLearning with the annotations was that students could stay in this mode of reading instead of writing, and that some students really struggle with that switching back and forth. And so they could stay in that reading mode even when they're highlighting, because they don't have to think about how they're going to make a sentence. Yeah. They are just simply reading and highlighting the important things. And so even just that simple little action, I don't know about like emojis.
Yeah.
Maybe emojis would still kind of keep you in that reading mode, because you don't have to formalize a sentence. Yeah. And so it really helps some students then be able to now stay connected with the text and not that mental break.
And that's another type of annotation that you can do is emojis. And it's the same thing with like these highlighting colors. You could come up with different emojis, and that's a close reading skill. So like you could say they have to highlight and comment with the surprise emoji of 2 things that surprise them. And 2 things that they disagreed with, they could be the angry emoji, right? 2 things that they had a connection with, it could be the globe emoji. So you could totally change your directions to be completely emoji based. That's also a close reading strategy too. So
I like that.
Yeah. Maybe we should make copy paste definitions or copy paste directions for that, Matt. We can put that on the list.
Yeah. All right. That sounds good.
Okay. So then the next thing I wanted to talk about was text-dependent questions. So in the world of everything being online, you really got to make sure that the questions you're asking are A, higher level thinking questions, and B, questions that are completely dependent on this text so that the students are having to think about it, right? It doesn't just mean a non-text dependent question would be, you know, like, why do you like or not like skiing? Although that's a good question, that's not text dependent for this. So we want to do text dependent questions. So that's where you click on the question button, and then you click on a paragraph to make a question. And then you would want to make a question that is higher level thinking, but also they would need to have read the text to do. So explain why a skier goes faster, I spelled that wrong, the faster as they descend down the hill. What's nice, right, about this is you can change the points. You just click create, and then you have a text-dependent question right there where the students can answer. So that's an open-ended text-dependent question. If I did want to change it into a multiple-choice question, it'd be super easy. All I would have to say would, I'd have to start typing answers because it is called alpine skiing, because of gravity, because of kinetic, sorry, Matt, if I'm butchering this answer, because of potential and kinetic energy. And then I just mark that one as correct, and then that's a multiple choice question for him. So that's text-dependent questions too. I believe we have some help for that too, right, Matt?
For the text-dependent questions?
Yeah, I believe we do, don't we? So you just go back to where I got there, and then right up here, you under lesson templates there, you click on text dependent questions, and I've written some questions that really pretty much no matter what text you're having your students read, these questions are going to be text dependent questions for you. So let's say I got that one. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to click. I'm going to go down to the next paragraph. And I'm going to insert a sticky note, and I'm going to paste. Oops, sorry, what am I doing? Not a sticky note. Gonna insert a question. Sorry, people, haven't been home. And click create, and then I have a question. Done. How many seconds did that take me? 2 seconds, right? And so really, if you were to keep this up, there's how many questions? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You could just copy paste in those 10 questions. It took me 2 seconds to do each. So what, maybe 3 minutes and you'd have a lesson. If all you were doing was you could copy paste in the highlighting and you could copy paste in the text dependent questions. So.
All right, so Candace just asked a question in the Google chat of, could students take a picture of what they are reading to make annotations on? Could students take a picture of what they're reading to make annotations on? What they're reading.
Oh, you mean like if they like, does she mean like if they were reading like a book and then they took a picture and then could do something? Because if they're on a website, then we just use InsertLearning for them to make all the annotations.
Yeah, there would be if so Karen, you have to get going, don't you?
Guys, I'm sorry. It was nice to talk with all of you. I do have to go to another meeting now, so I'll see you guys later. And
Karen's a real teacher, if you can't tell, because she's video chatting from her classroom at 6:15 p.m. And running off to another meeting now. All right, so yes, okay, all right, so that's what you meant, Candace. So I'm going to show off then on my screen. I'm going to share mine. So for taking a picture, it is possible to do that, but it's a little bit different. Not really a picture, but what students can do. So I'm on Science News for Students, and I was going to talk about an Olympics article here. But when students have their own highlighter tool, and then they have their own sticky note tool. And with the sticky note tool, what you can do is record a video directly in there. So they add in a sticky note, and then click the video record tool, and then they can click on record. You know, and they kind of like, then they can take a quick picture of it. And then they can embed that in there. That would be one option. You can't draw the pictures, do things like that directly within InsertLearning, but I'm going to show you with auto draw how to do that. But I'm trying to think of another thing you could do too is if you're going to do like book discussions or something like that. Flipgrid is a really neat tool that you can embed into your InsertLearning lessons, and they've got a video. Jernia Irwin made a video explaining how to do that. I like my face right there. So you can kind of do that. So there'll be some options there. But so one way you can do is, one of the things I was going to highlight is in Jennifer Gonzalez's the Cult of Pedagogy post, she was talking about auto draw, and auto draw is just this really neat thing, right? So if I want to draw a house, I'm going to draw that. And then the little magic thing's going to pop up, right? There you go. Now I can choose a house, and then it kind of selects it, right? Because the students, a lot of students really struggle with drawing. They're very self-conscious about the drawing skills, so they won't want to. And so Jennifer had a really great idea of having students visualize as they're reading through it, like visualizing what it is that they're reading. And so with auto draw, there is a way that you can embed that into your lesson. So I'm going to show you how to do that as another strategy. So as students are reading through, let's say here, I'm going to then give them instructions. So make a drawing section. Let's say something like that. So to make your own custom embed with AutoDraw, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the URL for AutoDraw. I'm going to head over to YouTube. And really, you just open up any YouTube video. Let's just say we go to this one. There's a couple different ways. We got another video that explains this. But what you can do is click on share. And what we're doing is copying their code. So I'm going to do that again. What I did was you go to any YouTube video, click on share, embed, and then it's this iframe code. That's what we want. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that. And let's see how well this is going to work here. So I pasted that in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy that URL for AutoDraw. And here I'm just going to replace this source one. And I'm going to make the height, say like 600. And I'm just going to copy all of that and go back over. I think I probably just lost a lot of people. But I'm going to paste that. And what happens now is that now AutoDraw is embedded. And so what students can do is I embedded AutoDraw for them. They would then go in, make their own drawings. My house wouldn't show up. And then they just simply right-click on that. And now when they add in their own sticky note below that, they can paste in that image that they had. So again, sort of like you can now have students kind of visualizing this as they're going along, of certain elements and things that are kind of like, what do they, getting students kind of like, think about what these different things look like, the different words, the different situations, as they're kind of going through. So it's a really fun way. I'm going to show off a couple more things in the help center that we have for the quick lesson ideas. So I clicked on the little life ring right there, and then quick lesson ideas here. Going a little slow right now. And then, so we got the lesson templates, but down here, we've got a couple of other things like an FAQ made by students of like questions about the text, so adding a discussion at the end. Students read aloud, so students can document their reading skills. So as they're reading it, they can record their own, make their own video recordings of them reading it out loud, making that learning visible, so putting the learning objectives on there. One of the things I really liked here was the this one of sight words. And so this one will be for younger students, but I got this one from an elementary teacher of having students highlight sight words as they're going through the text. And so maybe they can't read the whole thing, but it'd be a really good opportunity for students to then kind of go through. And I got a little video embedded within there showing how to do that. So I'm going to check real quick here. Right, yeah, and so yeah, Flipgrid is just a great tool to be able to use with it. So what was the other one I wanted to add in? So the text pen questions, Karen already got. She already got the highlights. The scaffolding it as you're going along with the questions. But then discussions is a really nice one then too as you're going through. So if it's going to be a really difficult text like this one, so Science News for Students has these really great original scientific articles, science articles, kind of written at a middle school and high school level. But if some of them were kind of difficult, then adding in discussion questions to then help the students kind of like all work together. And then you can ask a follow-up question then from that of like, choose one response. Ask your own question about that. So having students, again, spend more time within the text as they're going through. And you can also have them kind of pause within there and embed videos then. So getting students just simply to slow down a little bit as they're reading through it, or even having students work as a partner. So maybe they read through the text, they discuss the question with a partner, and then they write their final answer on there is another really good response opportunity for students to take some time and think about what they're reading. All right, so we're coming up to the end of our time here. So I'm going to give a quick little plug for our lesson challenges for the month of February. So it was Black History Month and the Olympics. So we're going to be doing 2 lesson challenges. So what you do is when you create a lesson that you want to enter into the challenge, the InsertLearning lesson libraries turned out to be an amazing place to get some ideas. And so when you've got your lesson that you've created, and it doesn't have to be one that you've assigned, but let's say I want this one. So I'm going to now click on this little option right here, and I can then click on Edit Info. You can change the title of your lesson if you want to, select the subject area, what grade levels it's appropriate for, or most appropriate for, and then add in any kind of tags that will help. So this one, if I wanted to add it in for the Olympics, then I'm going to write in Olympics Challenge. If you've got multiple tags you want to add in, just separate them with a comma, and then click on List in Public Library. And then when you save it, it'll automatically pop up in the library. So you'll see mine now will automatically show up in there, and I'll delete it because it's not really a great lesson. So you can see that one right there. But you can see other lessons that are in here that people have already shared. This is the one that I shared out in our newsletter from today that Stephanie created. That was just this amazing one that I liked reading through on my own. So check those out. Check out this link also of how to publish them. And that's all we've got for tonight. And if you got any questions, you can ask in the discussion in there too. But this has been great. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And send us or email us any questions that you have, or ask us questions with the built-in chat on InsertLearning.com. Thank you. And now I just need to remember how to end the webinar. There we go. All right. Good night, everybody.